Have I told you that your ad account is very much like a car? And right now, make sure you're driving with the handbrake on. What's going on, guys? What you have coming back at you with a better video? And today, we'll be peering behind the statement that says, just when ads is super simple. But the reality is when you turn that key, the car falls to the right, your fuel is draining fast, and you're still not even at your destination. And guys, your ads could be failing because your car is broken, you're driving on the wrong road, you're following the wrong map, and nobody told you where his mechanics are. In this video, I'll show you exactly why that happens, guys, and how to fix it before your budget crashes and burns. So stick around, guys, we're gonna get into it today. So guys, by the end of today, you will learn how ads are like cars, and why setup, fuel, and maintenance matter than just pressing go. How the funnels work like roads, from the motorway at top of funnel where everyone's speeding by, to the city streets in the middle of funnel where they stop and compare, and finally to the driveway at bottom of funnel where they fully convert. Why sometimes you need to park up to fix your car, and why sometimes you need to repair your car whilst you're still driving. And finally, I'll use diagnostics and AI mechanics, those Meta and Google algorithms, to tune your ad engines so it runs like a sports car. So guys, grab your guys and grab your axe. It's time to spin up some other magic. Woo woo. So guys, let's start it here. This is the ad manager and this is your car. And a lot of the time you don't just buy a car, hop in and start driving smoothly, okay? Sometimes you gotta look under the hood. You gotta check your brakes. You gotta put that fuel in, you know what I mean? And then you can actually drive it, right? This is exactly the same with ads. Let's break it down together. Woo! But guys, before you even move, you need to check under the hood. Well, how do we do that? Well, I'm going to show you step by step on how we check under the hood, how we operate the car, how we drive the car, whilst we repair the car whilst it's moving, how we optimize the AI mechanic in our car to get us the best results, and how we get to our destination with plenty of time to spare in the exact benchmarks, in the exact time frames that we're looking for. Right, so guys, step number one is to make sure that you have a MetaPixel helper, right? We need to look under the hood. How do we look under the hood? Well, we need to have some tools to be able to see what's going on, how the engine is currently performing, to see if there are any diagnostics that we can understand, okay? So, for example, things aren't firing properly, okay? It's very much about the inputs and outputs needed to train the ad AI than it is with us tinkering with the controls. So, when we look under the hood, we need to make sure that everything's working nicely together, that everything's firing where it should be. And if you don't know what this means, guys, I'm going to add a card in the top corner so that you can learn how to train your ad AI. This is a part of that. We need to look how the ad AI is currently being trained. And this is the idea of looking underneath the hood, is that we can see what is going on. And step number one is downloading and adding the MetaPixel helper. We need to do it, download a MetaPixel helper to your browser as a browser extension. And this will allow us to see, as we go through the conversion journey, what is firing where, what conversion events are firing where, and all those nice things to make sure that what is under the hood is all working correctly. Okay, so make sure you have the MetaPixel on there, because this is one of the diagnostic tools to see what's going on under the hood. So now, guys, we're going to go to Google Tag Manager, because we also need to check and make sure that everything is working. Okay, so we can use Google Tag Manager to go through the conversion process, and you click up here in the preview section. It's going to open up a preview section, and then you go type in the URL that you want to test. Again, we're looking under the hood. We want to test and make sure the engine is firing correctly. So you want to add in your URL here and go through the conversion process, make a purchase, submit your lead details, go through the lead detail form, whatever the conversion is. We want to go through to the end step to hit that thank you page to make sure that everything is firing correctly. Okay, so where you do that, you add in your URL, and then you go through your conversion journey and make sure that everything is firing correctly. You'll see here, tags fired, tags not fired. Okay, if they are not, then you know that there is work to be done here. Okay, like with our engine, we now need to tinker around with the engine to optimize it to its fullest capacity. Okay, so they're not constantly topping up fuel unnecessarily. It's not leaking any oil, for example, right? Okay, so very, very important that we go and run these diagnostics. Now, guys, there's one last tool to look beneath the hood that we'd recommend, and this is in the Meta Ad Manager itself, guys. If you navigate over to the left-hand side and you click Events Manager here over in the left-hand side navigation bar, you're going to select the pixel that you want to be looking at. And now we're going to look beneath the hood of this pixel. How do we do that? There is a section here called Test Events. We're going to go to Test Events. We're going to scroll down to the very bottom where it says confirm that your website events are set up correctly. Okay, you're going to press this drop down, and then you're going to also, like you do in Google Tag Manager, enter your website URL here and make sure that the conversion events that you have set up are firing correctly. Okay, so you'll see those in the live view, much like on Google Analytics. You'll see these come through in the live view. And what you want to do is that you want to make sure that everything is firing correctly. that add to carts is firing where it should, initiate checkout is firing where it should, add payment details and purchase, right? All of these default conversion events from Meta. And if you're running a decom business or something where there is a purchase involved, then you may want to look at these conversion events as a default. Make sure they're firing correctly here, guys. Okay, so go to the test events section in the Pixel, in the event manager, go to test events, type in your URL, and then make sure that everything is fired correctly, guys. Guys, in the events section, okay, if you go to the recent events, this is where all the recent events will be. Okay, you need to mark which events are key to you. So for us, is making an appointment here. So these are the ones that stand. That's why it's under key events. But most recent events, these are all the other events that are currently being tracked on the website. So you need to make sure that your priority conversion event has been selected here in Google Analytics. Right now, step number 2. Before you even move, guys, check what's under the hood. The account is set up correctly, that Pixel is firing, all the conversions are being tracked correctly, etc. Do you even know if your brakes are working? Right? If you skip that step, you could be spending money blindly. Okay, so really, really important that we understand what's going on beneath the hood. Now, step number 2 is to understand what conversion events are being fired in Google Analytics. Okay, so we're looking at GA4 and we're going to look at the conversion events in live view to make sure that the conversion events are firing in Google Analytics as well. So guys, for this, what you need to do is you need to press over here. You need to press on admin, and then we're going to scroll down to the data collection section. Under the data display, here is the events section. And you just want to check this, guys, because these are some of the events that could be tied to Google Ads that we are optimizing for, that are also connected in the Google Analytics 4. And what we can also do here, guys, is to use this debug views. This is a selection. This will allow us to see a live view of the events. So this is our way of debugging conversion events through Google Analytics. And what you want to do is you want to check this to make sure that all the events are firing correctly. This is another way to see the live events that are happening, your diagnostics of what's under the hood. We need to see how things are firing as we go through the conversion processes ourselves. As we go through the purchase flow, or as we go through the submit lead details flow, we need to do that through these debug views to see and make sure that everything is firing correctly. Also mention, guys, is that when you are using GA4's debug view, you need to make sure that the data will show when you go through Google Tag Manager's preview mode. Okay, so it's another way to see in live time the events that are firing. So in order to do that, again, go to Google Tag Manager, go to preview mode, you load up your website, go through the conversion process, hit finish in the Tag Assistant pop-up. Then when you go back to GA4 or Google Analytics 4, this is where the events will start to populate in debug mode. It can sometimes take a little while for those events to trickle in, as you can see here. But if they aren't appearing, just hit the pause or just scroll up and they will appear. Okay, guys, so here we can see the one that we are wanting is make an appointment. This is also something that we would see. We go back to Google Tag Manager and debug mode, is that when you scroll down, you won't necessarily be able to see that one. So that's how the debug view in Google Analytics. So this is a live view so that you can see the events happening in real time. This is how the debug view in Google Analytics 4 works. Hit me comment down below if you got any questions. Now guys, we're on step number 2, and this is where we can turn the ignition and we can turn the ads on, okay? Once we have looked between the hood and we know and can see that everything is working okay, we need to turn that ignition on, okay? And you need to turn that key. So start the car, your ads go live. And suddenly, now the car is moving, you see problems that you couldn't see before, now that the car is in motion. Okay, maybe it starts to veer to the right. Maybe the handbrake needs tightening. Well, maybe this is wrong targeting. Maybe weak nurture flows, where we need to nurture people. The wheels wobbling, maybe a poor CTA or something like this, right? So look at it as we're now driving. We can see the car in motion and we can see if there are issues whilst the car is slowly moving forward. We've looked underneath the hood, everything's working okay. We get in the car, turn the ignition on, we slowly start to drive. Now the car is in motion. There are some issues that we need to face and solve. One or two ways to do that. Either you pull over to the side of the road, stop the car, fix it as things that need to happen, or if you're in a rush or you just need to move quickly, okay, you'll need to fix the car whilst it's in motion, which is fine to do, but you need to be aware of what you are doing so the car doesn't suddenly veer off course, right? You need to know exactly what you're doing if the car is in motion and you want to fix things. Otherwise, I recommend parking up, try to recalibrate some things, then starting up again, okay, versus continually going if it really doesn't work. If your car is veering off too much to the right, okay, then it's really not working, guys. You need to stop and understand why it's veering to the right and how you can improve that and fix that. Now, what some things that we need to look out for. How do we know if the car is veering to the right? How do we know if the handbrake needs tightening? Okay, we need to look at the initial data of how our initial ads have performed and are performing. Okay, so some key benchmarks, guys, to look out for in terms of what is successful. Click-through rate. Okay, so you want to look at your click-through rate to see how desirable that ad is, how much people are clicking on it, and how much of a resonation it has. And if it has a low click-through rate, then you might find that your car is steering a little bit to the right. We need to optimize and look at the data and then optimize our ads. If there's a low click-through rate, we need to swap that out out, we need to create a new iteration, and we always need to look at what's working and maybe emulate some of those best practices. Okay, so looking at click-through rate, now if you've realized that the car is in motion and is doing some funny things, you need to look at the data to inform your decision making, and always use your data as the decision making tools and factors for your ads. And on the Google side, we also need to look at data to inform our strategy, to inform what needs to be fixed. So for this, what I recommend is, for example, going into the search terms report and seeing what people are typing in to find our ads. Okay, so you're going to go to here, on the left-hand side are campaigns, then you're going to go to insights and reports, and then you're going to go to search terms. Okay, and this is going to bring up all the search terms that people are typing in to find our ads. Here we can add those into our ads, so we're bidding for those terms. We can choose to add them into negative keywords, so we're not bidding for those at all. Okay, but this is some features. If your Google ads are working and your car here is veering off to the left or the right, or we need a new oil change, the handbrake needs tightening up, check your search term report, guys. This is a tip I would highly recommend to check if things are working properly, to see what other search terms that people are typing in to find your ads. For example, in the UK, if you are a dentist, but you're a private healthcare dentist, and so we don't accept NHS patients, for example, but you don't want in your ad NHS dentist, right? You want to be very, very specific that you are a private dentist. Okay, so it's really, really important that we look now at our ads if they're not performing, our car isn't driving correctly, and to see what we are bidding for, to see if it's the right type of fuel that we've put in, the right type of traffic and things like this. So now that we have turned the ignition on, again, the ads have started to run, we need to look at the data to see what is happening and then fine tune these things if we find that the car isn't moving as it should. But before we go anywhere else, I need to do here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more important updates. We're here many times a week. There are business owners, online advertisers, and digital marketeers get the best from their online advertising, paid media, and digital marketing strategies. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Yeah. Now guys, this is where it gets really important, because the car has slowly started to move. Now that the car is moving correctly and is driving as it should, it started off small, you started to ramp up the speed, and you know to start hitting some roads, and depending on what you want your ads to do, is the direction you will take. It's the actual road you will be driving on with your ads. Okay, so as a really simple demonstration, top of funnel can be the motorway. You know, everyone's driving past really quickly, they've got somewhere else to go, you'll get some reach, but you probably won't get as many sales because everyone's rushing by really quickly, they haven't got time to stop and maybe they don't know you. Okay, and what we want to do here is have certain content, a certain creative that speaks to those people and to capture that attention, to get them to slow down on the motorway. That's top of funnel, guys, right? Middle of funnel, these are the city streets, guys. Okay, middle of funnel is the city streets. As the roads get a bit slower, traffic slows. Okay, people are looking at the shop windows, they're comparing options. Okay, they're driving around the slowest speed to consider, to understand, to move more complexly through the inner city roads. And this is where the nurturing happens, right? Say, for example, in these inner city roads, you have billboards and you have advertisements to guide people through these inner journeys to come to the understanding of where they need to go. Okay, in the inner city. And this is what your creative should also do. Okay, look at some of those middle of funnel creatives, those hooks, angles, and everything else to make sure that you have different messaging for each of these creatives. Pain points for top of funnel, objections, solution-based messaging in middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, objection-based handling creative. Okay, just really simple framework there, but this is how you can approach things. So top of funnel, we're making people aware that the pain point. Middle of funnel, we're telling people why we're the solution. Bottom of funnel, people are interested and may have hesitations, and we're answering those hesitations in our creatives so that they are ready to make that purchase and know that you are the right solution for them. Maybe attempt a little offer for them as well. Bottom of funnel, guys. And finally, guys, okay, bottom of funnel is them pulling into the driveway. Okay, they know which house they want to go to, they know where they need to be, okay, and they've made that decision. Now, bottom of funnel is them pulling into the driveway. Okay, they've made the conversion, they know where they're going, they're ready to pull into that driveway, mate. But hey, guys, also, if the gate's broken, if your landing page sucks, or your form is broken, or your form doesn't work, then they might even do a U-turn even here. Okay, so even as they're pulling in to the driveway at bottom of funnel, if there are any complications or any issues that need fixing, they can still do a U-turn and leave. Okay, so it's really, really important, guys. Even at this point, we're looking at the landing page drop-off, we're looking at lead form submit drop-off, we're looking at the checkout process drop-off, all those things. Interesting way. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Then hit me comment down below if you got any questions. So guys, the next step is, as we know, no car drives forever without needing any maintenance or any upgrades or any optimizations. So now is where we look at, now that the car is moving very nicely, we're going the right roads and all those kind of nice things, you need to maintain your car after it's been running for a little while, right? So you can either stop and pause and reset. So you can pull over to the side of the road and reset your app, or you can upgrade these things as you're moving, you are learning and optimizing. Okay, and this is what we do. 2 examples of things that we do in this step. Okay, 1 is creative sprints. The creative sprint process will either be 7 days, 14 days, depending on what client's wishes and wants. And here we are understanding the creatives, guys. What is making creatives work? what is resonating, what hooks are we using, okay? Making sure that we log those learnings, what structure works well, what opening hooks work well, what scripts work well, etc. So we're keeping a log of the learnings, guys, because what we want to do is we want to make this car better. We want to increase the speed and things like this as it's going down the road, right? And what we need to do here is we need to log what is working, what isn't working, okay? What are some ad winners? What are some ad losers? What made this ad win? Was it the length? Was it the style? Was it the hook? Was it the type? Okay, all of these different things, we can log these in learnings, guys. So as we're speeding up, these are a couple of factors that we will look at as we're now ramping up speed, okay? We want to get to these destinations quicker. So this is how we do that. And something else that we'll be doing to further this, okay, is looking at the data of our ads again at a deeper level to see what trends we can see to upgrade our engine. So we're looking at conversion rates for each product at every single step. What's the conversion rate of our ad? What's the conversion rate of our landing page? What's the conversion rate of our onboarding flow? What's the conversion rate of our remarketing? All of these different aspects we need to look at. And then we're looking at, for example, what is your true CPA when we're looking at the return on ad spend, the return on investment, and all those things, looking at true CPAs, okay? Looking at campaign ROAS. And then we're looking at things like quality scores, lead quality scores, how good a quality is the lead that we're bringing in, and we're optimizing for those things. We're also taking deeper looks at the data that the ads are bringing in. We want to increase the speed, we want to increase the velocity of our car. We need to look at the data here and use the data to inform our decisions even more. We're tracking the data, keeping a log of these on a day by day, week by week, or month by month basis, okay, to ensure that we're always optimizing and that we're continually growing on the successes of what has happened, that the car is speeding up, okay? It's not slowing down, it's not crashing out or breaking down, okay? We want to speed this car up. So there you're looking at all of the metrics and everything else to see what you can do to fine tune, looking at creative sprints to optimize your creatives. And we're looking at the ad data and the ad results to see what fine tunings you can make to get even better results, okay? And to optimize and fine tune those, that CPA, that CPR, or those CPLs. Finally, guys, now if you're optimizing even more, okay, now we need to get our AI mechanic on board, okay? We're going to get our AI mechanic on board and we're going to optimize even more. We're going to work with our AI mechanic to get even better results, to get to our destinations even quicker, okay? The AI mechanic knows the intricacies of our car and knows exactly what we want to do and exactly where we need to go. But we need to train the mechanic AI to understand those things, okay? So, first place that we're going to go, okay, is looking at the data, okay? Make sure your data is rich, okay? So that it can understand. The richer your data, the better your optimization, the better your AI mechanic can understand your car and understand what is going to make it work, okay? There are different types of cars, different brands, okay? And each brand has their own style of working. So what we're doing here with the AI mechanic is getting them in, understanding how we drive, understanding what the car is, and how the AI can work best with us to find us the results that we need so that we can get to our destination the best and the quickest. So for this, guys, we need to make sure in the events manager, if you have a third-party tool for this, okay, if you're using a CRM, for example, a customer relationship management system, or you're using an e-commerce system, okay, that everything, guys, super important. The super important data is getting fed back into Meta and Google, because this way it can understand, I'm going to find us other results that are really going to move the needle for us. It's all about the quality of the data. If you lie to your AI mechanic and say, hey, I'm this type of driver, or my car is this, then it's going to try and find out a solution for you. But ultimately, it really needs to know who you are as a driver at its truest and what your car is at its truest to get the best data. So when you have bad data, this can impact how your AI mechanic sees you and some of the results it might actually generate for you. So at this point, guys, it's really, really important. It's all about the inputs and outputs needed to train our AI than it is with us tinkering with the controls. So again, using your CRM, using HubSpot, okay, these third-party tools, feeding that data back into Meta and Google so that Meta and Google can understand what is working and find us other great results and find us other signals as to what is going to work as well. And if you have any custom conversions, they're also firing incorrectly, but all the private data is being hashed where it should, and all of the optimization data is getting fed into Meta and Google as it should to optimize the best, okay? And guys, something else that you might like to do, put the card in the top corner. If you want to learn how to train your ad AI, specifically on Meta, then these are some of the principles that we also guide you through, okay? So for example, here are 3 different examples. We got an e-commerce sales funnel, we've got a lead magnet to a call funnel, and we have a webinar funnel. As we can see here, guys, okay, I have numbered these. So this is the sequential order of how people interact with the checkout process, for example, right? They view the product, they add something to cart, they initiate the checkout, they use a discount code, and then they complete the purchase, okay? This is the flow of conversion events, okay, for this particular funnel. And something else that you would definitely like to consider, okay, with the AI mechanic trying to understand you as a driver and your car, is to add conversion values to each of these conversion events, okay? So you're telling your AI mechanic, hey, this is what this conversion action is worth to us, is worth to the business. Even if they're hypothetical numbers, this additional data gives Meta the understanding of what's important to the business. Okay, for example, adding something to cart is nowhere near as valuable as completing a purchase, right? So we added conversion events to the different conversions so Meta knows what is the priority. Okay, and then what we can do with our AI mechanic is that we can change our bidding strategies so we're maximizing for value instead of maximizing for number of conversions. I might recommend is that once you have these conversional values in here, you can tell Meta actually it doesn't matter about the number of conversions. What they want to do is increase the value of our conversions. So what Meta's going to do is going to say, oh, okay, so we're not just optimizing for add to cart, we're optimizing for the thing that drives the highest value. For this, because I know that the business that completed a purchase is valued at $90 to $150 to this business, we want to try and find as many people who are going to do this as possible, where they're going to bring in the most money. They're not going to try and optimize for people that are just going to initiate the checkout where we're just earning $70 or adding to cart where it's just $30. Again, these are just hypothetical numbers. Like I said, it's the training data so that Meta can see your complete journey and to know what is value to the business. Okay, again, is another funnel for this. Okay, from Lead Magnet. So you download a free guide, you watch the mini course, you click book a call, you filled out the calendar booking, you showed up and had the sales call, and then you purchased the program. Okay, so this is what the funnel can look like. So from leads to view content to add to cart to initiate checkout to schedule and then purchase. Okay, and what are each of these actions valued or worth to the business? We put some hypothetical numbers, right? And again, depending on what it is value to your business, you're using this as the training data so that Meta and Google can see what each action is value to the business. Then we change our bidding strategy to maximize conversion value. It's going to find us people who are going to resonate with the end conversion goal where the conversion value is higher. Okay, so that's just another 10-hard trick, guys. Again, if you want to watch the video on how where I break this down fully, because you got really, really good understanding of this, I'm going to link the card in the top corner so you can go watch that build yourself. And guys, let me comment down below if you got any questions. Guys, if you want to join the AdWizard waiting list to see what the AdWizard team has coming up next, if you want to signal your intent of interest, click the link down below to join the waitlist today. No fluff, no mounting, just pure AdWizard magic, guys. But sign up today for free in the waitlist below to see what the AdWizard team has coming up next. Woo! Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully now you have a good visualization of what needs to happen when you are creating your ads, when you are running your ads, and when you're optimizing your ads through the analogy of driving cars. You can find me on LinkedIn at Jerry Griffiths, and Twitter, on X and Instagram at Jared Abbott, and at Gary Fedlots everywhere else. If you'd like to watch a video on how to integrate your Google Suites together with Google Analytics, Google Ads, and Google Tag Manager, click this video over here, but step-by-step breakdown and tell you how to do that. Anyway, Jerry, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace and a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.